There are 81 unique recipes in Stardew Valley, only one of which your farmer knows how to cook, since their culinary knowledge begins and ends with the humble fried egg. The other 80 recipes have to be earned. How long would it take to cook every recipe? Unlocking them all is its own journey, but the cooking ingredients themselves are seasonal, as some seafood and produce are only available later into the year, or in some cases your second year in the valley. Plus, it takes 2 full years to learn all of the recipes available from the weekly cooking show on the television. Does that mean it takes 2 years to cook every recipe? No, not at all, because I can do it in less than 2 months. This is the hardest and most complicated challenge run I've ever attempted. Before we start, I need to break down what the biggest time gates actually are and which ones I can bypass. Out-of-season produce can be grown in the greenhouse if you can get your hands on the seeds ahead of time. To accomplish this, I'll have to reach and complete Ginger Island to get Pierre's missing stock list, an item that upgrades the store to stock seasonal seeds year-round. In the same vein, I can also get my hands on magic bait, which can hook fish outside of their regular season. Even out-of-season forage like wild blackberries and hazelnuts can be grown in the greenhouse if you do some trading to get wild fall seeds ahead of time. With all of that in mind, the most difficult ingredients to source quickly are actually the humble banana and mango. Mangoes in particular have absolutely 0 ways to obtain them outside of growing your own fruit tree over the course of an entire month. And you can't exactly get started early since you can't obtain a mango sapling until you've reached Ginger Island. This means my top priority for the early game is rushing to Ginger Island and obtaining fruit tree saplings to plant by the end of spring, or I won't be able to meet my goal of cooking all recipes by the end of summer. Now that I have a solid plan to obtain all the ingredients in time, what would it take to unlock those 80 unique recipes I need to learn how to cook? I can bypass watching the weekly TV show for 2 years straight by purchasing the Queen of Sauce cookbook for a hefty chunk of gold, unlocking 32 recipes. This book isn't available from the get-go, but it'll appear in the bookseller's stock once you've completed Ginger Island and unlocked endgame quests, which is something I needed to do anyway to obtain some of my ingredients. The real challenge is unlocking the 36 recipes earned by befriending various villagers around town. There are 18 different people I need to earn 7 friendship hearts with, and I don't exactly have a lot of time to hang out given the accelerated pace of progression that will keep me very busy during spring. Earning friendship points is slow and time-gated by various restrictions. After all, you can only give someone 2 gifts per week unless their birthday is coming up. Plus, some of the people I need to befriend aren't even available out of the gate, reducing the time I have to befriend them down to 4 or 5 weeks. And since my goal is to finish this challenge in around 50 days or so, I won't even get the opportunity to give them a birthday gift for a huge boost in friendship points. How could I possibly befriend them in time? The answer? Stardrop Tea, a rare item that bypasses the normal gift limit and grants a full friendship heart. The thing is, they're extremely difficult to obtain, particularly in bulk. There's only one way I'll be able to source piles of tea to hand out to anyone coming up short on friendship points, and it's a huge task. I need to max out all of my skills, earn my first mastery point, and then exhaustively grind for rare drops from golden treasure chests obtained by fishing. Since I need to complete Ginger Island to earn ingredients, and max out all of my skills to catch up on friendship, I basically need to do all of my previous challenge runs at the same time, as a mere prerequisite task for cooking every recipe by the end of summer. This is going to be a doozy. Particularly sharp viewers may have noticed the elephant in the room by now. One of the game's recipes, Super Meal, is obtained by befriending Kent, a villager who doesn't move back to the valley until year 2. Surely it's impossible to cook every recipe in your first year, right? Well, yeah, it is. Kent single-handedly ruins tons of fun year 1 challenges like all recipes, all friendships, and full perfection. There are 3 ways to address this. First, I could skip Kent in the super meal, which is lame, since I'm here to cook all recipes, not just skip ones I don't like. Second, I could sleep through the first year and start the run on year 2, day 1. This is similar to starting in year 1, but grants a bunch of small advantages I don't need, like early access to mining and fishing. So I'm selecting the third and most difficult option. My friend Mike helped me hack in Kent into my save file starting year 1. While I am modifying my game, I find this to be the most interesting approach by giving myself more work to do without making it easier by skipping straight to year 2. Speaking of making things difficult for myself, I'm banning the use of glitches and cheats, I won't use scripts for animation canceling, and I also won't use Legacy RNG to help out either, so none of that insane day 1 clay farming. Let's create a new game file and get started. This run is seeded to predict some of the random elements. I need to guarantee that year 2 crops like garlic show up in the randomized stock of the traveling cart's wares, or I won't have another way to get them in my first year. Pierre's shop doesn't sell year 2 seeds early, even with Pierre's missing stock list. With everything in place, I'm finally ready to start my first day of this long journey. Day 1. There is not much I can do today, since I can't fish or go mining quite yet. I chose the Riverlands farm so I can loot some free fish smokers from the extra cabins I added to the farm during file creation. Smokers are the main way I'll be earning money throughout the run. I have a lot planned for spring. I'd like to reach and complete Ginger Island in my first month, while also finding the time to max out all of my skill levels. My goal for today though is to gather 400 pieces of wood. To maintain my energy for chopping, I'll snack on wild forage like dandelions and spring onions. I purchased a single piece of copper ore from Clint, so he'll teach me how to craft a furnace tomorrow. And I also grabbed a salad at the saloon since I need some more energy to finish chopping all this wood. Anything else I don't need will be sold to fund me for tomorrow, since I'll need to buy a fishing rod upgrade and some bait. Tree sap sells for 2 gold each, which adds up, but I'm keeping all the fiber for later because it'll be useful for crafting recipes. I take 300 pieces of wood down to the beach to repair the bridge. I'll be selling some of the forage at the tide pools for a nice chunk of gold, and the sea urchin is a critically important material I'll need to craft a bait maker a few days down the line to maximize my fishing setup. The rest of the wood was used to craft chests for storage. Despite spending some money today, I am going into day 2 with enough cash on hand. Day 2 unlocks the ability to fish, which is the best way for me to make money once I get my fishing gear established. Out of my huge list of goals, the most immediate long-term goal to pursue is reaching Ginger Island, and I plan to make over 100,000 gold in my first 2 weeks as part of getting that done, and that starts by reaching level 2 fishing. Bubbles in the water greatly decrease the average time it takes for a fish to bite, which boosts the rate I can earn experience and money. Bubbles are random, but their time and place are set by your game seed, so I can predict where they'll show up without needing to manually scout out the beach ahead of time by running alongside the shore and jotting down bubble locations on the notepad before restarting the day to play for real. Hooking so many extra fish thanks to the bubbles has also granted me a fair bit of rare treasure, pulling up a valuable diamond around 3 PM. My goal for day 2 was to make several attempts until something promising happened, but I don't mind getting lucky on my first try. I can offload my fish as I catch them directly to Willie's shop on the docks, and since I hit fishing level 2, I purchased an upgraded rod that can utilize bait to have the average bite time. Since the bubble locations on the beach are extremely good today, I stayed here all evening, storing overflow treasure in fish in a chest I brought for this purpose, since Willie's shop closes down at 5 PM and I don't have very much space in my backpack. By the early hours in the morning, I brought in a nice haul of fish, another diamond, and a wonderful stack of coal I'll be using to run my fish smoker starting tomorrow. Day 3. Rainy days in spring are a great opportunity, since you can hook catfish in the river, which have a very nice base value of 200 gold before quality bonuses. Unfortunately, they're quite difficult to land successfully at lower fishing levels. I'm really trying to push the pace of progression, so I'd like to get one of my tools upgraded today. Since I can't go mining yet, I'll need to purchase the metal to make a furnace, as well as the ore to make metal bars to upgrade my pickaxe. After spending the morning fishing, I head down to the beach to organize my fish and cash them in at Willie's shop. I'm on a tight timeline, since I need to produce 5 metal bars in time to hand my pickaxe over to Clint before he closes up shop at 4 PM. Another side objective I'll be working on for quite some time is donating artifacts and minerals to the museum, since I need the rusty key earned by donating 60 unique items to access the sewers much further down the line from now. While waiting for my metal bars to melt down, I got some more fishing done in the river by Clint's shop, but I didn't have any more luck hooking more catfish. Thanks to those 2 diamonds I fished up the previous day, I had just about exactly enough money to purchase all of the ore needed, while still having 2,000 gold left over to put in for my tool upgrade before Clint closed up shop. Now, I haven't been using my fish smokers, since Willie won't buy smoked fish directly, and while Pierre will, his shop's closed on Wednesdays. It's now time to talk about how valuable smokers are. Smoking fish doubles their sale value at the cost of 1 coal, which isn't worth it for cheap fish, but is hugely profitable for high-quality catfish. Smoked fish are also incredibly convenient for giving out as gifts, since artisan goods are universally liked and smoked fish, unlike most artisan goods, retain the quality level of the fish during processing. And high-quality gifts are worth additional friendship points. And I need some gifts on hand, since the first birthday is coming up tomorrow. Day 4. I need to make some more purchases today. First, I'd like a backpack upgrade since juggling inventory overflow and carrying chests with me everywhere is driving me insane. I also want to prepare some more metal bars for tomorrow morning to keep a steady pace going on tool upgrades. I smoke up my more valuable fish as I go, then bring them down to Pierre's shop to sell, dropping 2,000 gold on the backpack, then the rest of my money on ore and coal. I still have some items stashed in a chest by the river from day 3, before I had enough backpack space to carry my stuff around, including some cheap but high quality smoked fish I saved to give out as gifts. Today is Kent's birthday. I don't have the time or resources to prioritize friendship right now, but skipping a birthday would be criminal. Birthday gifts grant a 8 times multiplier to the friendship points earned. A normal quality, loved birthday gift is worth 640 points, which translates to about 2.5 hearts. Kent is quite picky when it comes to love gifts, so I don't have any on hand, but an iridium quality smoked fish is still worth 540 points, which is enough to push Kent to 2 hearts. I spent the rest of my day fishing at the lake while producing metal bars before heading home at night to cash out. Day 5. The mines open up today, but I have some errands to run in town first, starting with the quest line to unlock the community center. Next I'm off the Joja Mart to pick up several dozen cans of soda. Joja Cola grants a short buff to your movement speed. Getting around faster means you can accomplish more things each day, particularly on walking heavy days like exploring the mines. The rest of my money goes towards upgrading my axe, while I bring my newly upgraded bronze pickaxe to crush the early floors in the mines. I happen to pick up a usable weapon on floor 5, so I'm good to go. I also saved up a bunch of cheap fish to use as snacks while mining to keep my energy up. Things went quite well, despite a large monster-infested floor slowing me down considerably on floor 29, and by 1 AM, I've put in 30 floors of progress, which is pretty good for my first foray into the mines, particularly since I did other chores today and didn't even get there until 10 AM. Day 6. I head to the Wizard first thing in the morning to unlock the community center. While going the Joja route is far faster for quickly progressing through the game, you can actually swap to Joja partway through and carry over your progress made in the community center beforehand. This is very useful, since Joja repairs are time-gated at 1 purchase per day, and I'd like to have the entire Joja catalog completed by spring 14th, which is very, very early. Sipping on cola to walk around faster on this chore-heavy day, I head into the community center to turn in the spring forage bundle. While I certainly won't complete all of the bundles in the craft room or the pantry, completing any 2 bundles will be enough to unlock rooms I can complete, such as the boiler room and the vault. Next, I swing down to the beach to fetch some materials I'll need to craft a bait maker, an item that lets you produce targeted bait to pinpoint whatever fish you want to catch, which is incredibly lucrative on rainy days when you can catch catfish. I'll need to make some iron bars to craft a bait maker, but before I go back to the mines to get that, I have something important to do on the farm. Completing the spring foraging bundle earlier today granted me 30 wild spring seeds as a gift. I actually need a bunch more spring seeds down the line to make a very lossy exchange for fall seeds as part of my process of gathering fall ingredients outside of fall. The best way to get more spring seeds is to plant the ones I have, let the natural rain take care of the watering after today, then convert my harvest back into more spring seeds. It's finally time to run back to the mines, chugging cola as I go. I need to get down to floor 40 before I can start finding iron, which takes me about 6 hours. I want at least 8 iron bars by tomorrow afternoon, so I decided to repeatedly reset floor 41 to efficiently grind out some iron ore and mining experience, a strategy I will be repeating later. I planned to just farm floor 41, but then I took a free staircase around 11:30 PM and decided to keep going since I got a couple more staircases almost instantaneously, bringing my progress for the day to floor 45. Since I need to make 6 more iron bars for tomorrow, I crafted a couple more furnaces and set them to run overnight. Day 7. Now that I have a bait maker, a reasonably high fishing level, and a nice rainy day, it's time to start pumping out money. One of the prerequisites to unlocking Ginger Island is finishing either the community center or Joja's community development farm. I'm aiming to profit over 125,000 gold in about a week's time to get this done. But before I can settle down the fish, the traveling cart is in town carrying a precious artichoke, a crop normally limited to your second year and beyond. I also bought the catfish in stock, It's very expensive for one fish, but I'm going to recycle it into the bait maker so I can start targeting catfish right away. Gold Star catfish currently sell for 750 gold when smoked. That's 600 gold of pure profit, subtracting the price of coal to run the smokers. They're still tricky to catch at my current level, so a few are going to get away, but I will land most of the fish I hook, and thanks to the bait maker, pretty much everything I hook today is going to be a catfish. It's not worth chasing bubbles like I did back on day 2, since I have a very stationary setup with all these furnaces, smokers, and my bait maker. Plus, bubbles are very rare in the town river, and very few fishing spots have deep enough water that consistently land high quality catfish for maximum profit. I swing by Pierre's shop around 3 PM to cash in 10k worth of smoked catfish. Then I head over to Clint to upgrade my axe into a steel axe. The reason I've been prioritizing these tool upgrades at such an aggressive pace is that I need a steel axe to gather hardwood from the secret woods. One of the prerequisites for unlocking Ginger Island includes 200 pieces of hardwood to repair Willie's boat, and the Riverlands farm in particular is really short on available hardwood on the farm in the form of large stumps and fallen logs. After spending the rest of my money on more coal to run the fish smokers all day, I swing by the saloon since it's actually Lewis's birthday. I don't have access to any of his favorite gifts, but iridium quality smoked fish is good enough to earn me a full 2 hearts. Catfish stopped showing up around midnight, but by then I've put over 20 more catfish into the smokers. These ended up clocking in at an additional 17,500 gold, bringing my total catfish sales for the day up to 28,000. Not bad, but we can do better. Day 8. Back to fishing, but I've got some upgrades in mind to make this even better. At 9 AM I sip a cola and run down to Willie's shop to spend all of my money on expensive fishing gear. The iridium rod can equip tackle alongside bait, and dress spinners, while a bit expensive, cut down on the time it takes for fish to bite. After some more fishing, I head to Pierre's shop to cash in 16k worth of fish so I can afford more supplies. Today is all about spending money so I can make money. I restock on colas at Joja Mart, then run to Clint's shop to replenish my rapidly diminishing stack of coal. The speed boost from Joja Colas really proved their worth today. All of that running around to 4 different shops is a lot of time spent not fishing, and I still managed to smoke 48 catfish today despite the shopping trips, making an additional 21k gold. That's 37,000 gold in sales today. Day 9. I need nearly 50,000 gold tomorrow if I'm going to finish Joja by the 14th. So let's get to it and smoke over 50 catfish today. Clint has finished upgrading my steel axe, so I picked that up before running to the mountain to stop by Robin's shop to quickly pick up some wood, which I'll need to fill in one of the bundles at the community center. Kent likes to watch me fish in my favorite fishing spot, so it's definitely worth taking a second and sliding him some smoked fish here and there for a few easy friendship points. I head home around midnight once catfish are done for the day, and take a moment to chop down some stumps on the farm for hardwood, 10 of which I need for a community center bundle tomorrow. I sold almost 40,000 gold worth of catfish today, which is pretty good. Day 10. There's a lot I need to get done, since I plan to complete 2 full rooms of the community center, then purchase my Joja membership on the same day. I fill up my inventory with some of the minerals and metals needed for the boiler room bundles, then swing by the mines to get what I'm still missing. I can get a solar essence for the adventurers bundle by diving down to floor 51 and slaying a ghost. At the same time, I'm also gathering the 10 bat wings I need for the same bundle. I have most of the things I need now, so let's start turning things in. The first step is putting in wood, hardwood, and stone for the construction bundle, which unlocks the boiler room. But I'm one item short of being able to finish the boiler room since fire quartz only appears naturally much deeper in the mines. I do have a solution. I happened to cross some magma geodes as rewards from random fishing treasure chests, which have a 1 in 16 chance to spit out the fire quartz I need. Geodes are much less random than they appear, since the order of items contained within geodes are actually determined by your game seed and can be accurately predicted. In my case, I need to open over 24 geodes before I'll be able to get a fire quartz, but I can pad out that length using other types of geodes. All the extra materials get donated to the museum, which is something I needed to do anyway, so win-win. Once I've gotten my hands on the fire quartz, I return to the community center and start putting in all of my materials for the boiler room bundles. Metal bars, minerals, and monster drops. The gold bar I had on hand was made from gold ore obtained by fishing. With the boiler room complete and the vault unlocked, I start pouring in money to finish all of the vault bundles. With 2 rooms now complete, this will save me some effort and time buying out the full Joja catalog, since over there you're limited to a single purchase per day and can't double up like I did just now. I spent the last hours of the evening grabbing a couple more catfish, and got a very interesting reward from a treasure chest. This book is normally red to grant 250 combat experience. But if you hold on to it and trade it into the traveling bookseller, you can get early access to a special item that causes way more monsters to show up in the mines, which will be useful later for gathering combat experience. Past midnight is an excellent time to make a quick run to the secret woods to gather the daily hardwood. It normally takes a long trip to walk there and back, but if I do it at the very end of the day, I won't have to spend time walking back home. I can just fall asleep on the grass and be magically teleported back to my bed. Very convenient. Day 11. Back to fishing, since I need money to purchase from Joja every available day until completion. I drop off 33 fish to Pierre for a casual 25k gold before running the Joja Mart to purchase something off of the community development form. And since I've got some money left over, I stock up on some more cola and swing by Clint's shop since I'm almost completely out of coal again. After smoking up 30 more catfish before midnight, I head on over to the secret woods to pick up my daily 12 hardwood. It won't get me to 200 anytime soon, but it's adding up. By the end of the day, I've reached level 10 fishing, which boosts my sales going forward, which is great news for the 30 smoked catfish tucked into my back pocket. The goal of day 12 is to finish earning all of the money I need for Joja so I can move on to bigger and better things. Now that my fishing levels hit 10, I head on over to the mountain lake to catch the legend, which you can only obtain one of, but I can smoke it up for a sweet 22,500 gold. Afterwards I head to my usual fishing spot to spend one final day fishing up catfish for huge profit. In the mid-afternoon, I bring the leftover fish from last evening plus today's catch over the Pierres, making a ridiculous 66,000 gold in sales, 10k of which I immediately drop on an upgrade to my backpack, which will be a huge help once I get to the Skull Caverns. I then stop by Joja Mart and drop 25k on the second to last purchase. I'll have to wait until the 14th to buy the final one since they're closed tomorrow for the town holiday. The bookseller is in town today, so I walked over to trade in my book for the aforementioned Monster Musk. And I also grabbed a price catalog since it's one of Pierre's loved gifts and his birthday is in a couple of weeks. In hindsight, this isn't a great use of my money since Pierre is really easy to befriend as he's a bit unique. I only need to build 3 hearts of friendship with him to unlock his unique recipe, unlike the other 18 villagers who need 7 hearts each. The rest of the day was very routine, spending the evening gathering catfish until midnight, then I took my usual trip to the secret woods for hardwood. Day 13. I've spent most of my time so far fishing, so I'm super behind on my progress through the mines, and I'm rapidly approaching a critically important deadline, the Desert Festival, which runs from the 15th to the 17th, a 3-day gold mine of money, experience, and materials I desperately need. But to prepare for the festival, I'm going to need a much better weapon, as well as a large pile of explosives for mining. I can get my hands on a good weapon if I reach floor 90 in the mines. Doing so unlocks the Steel Falchion from the Adventurers Guild shop, which deals reasonable damage with a very fast swing speed. I could potentially get a better weapon if I went all the way to the bottom of the mines, but it's not worth it, since grabbing the Skull Key down there permanently makes all monsters way stronger, and you can access the Skull Cavern during the festival even if you don't have the key. Today's goal is to dig as deep as I can and hit level 5 mining. Level 5 mining is a major breakpoint since it increases how much ore you can get for breaking a rock, which will be very important for gathering up iron ore to craft myself some explosives. After a full day of digging, I made it down 35 floors in total, reaching floor 85. Problem is, I was still only level 4 mining by midnight, so I hopped over to quickly clear out the quarry to scrape together some more mining experience before I passed out from exhaustion. Thankfully it turned out to be barely enough, gaining 2 mining levels today. And I also made some money off of the fish from the evening of day 12 I hadn't gotten around to selling yet. Day 14. Last day before the Desert Festival, and I still need food, a weapon, and explosives with which to tackle the Skull Caverns. First order of business is diving down to floor 90 to expand the inventory of the weapon shop in the Adventurers Guild. Then I spent a few hours repeatedly resetting floor 41 for iron ore with which to craft bombs. I have some other errands to get done to get prepared, so I grab all the gems I've been saving from fishing in the mines and make a trip to the desert a day before the festival starts. I have some Omni Geodes left over as a gift from the Boiler Room bundles in the community center, so I scoop up a desert warp totem I can use tomorrow to get to the desert long before the bus stop opens up in the morning. I also picked up some speed boosting food and drinks while I'm here, as well as some staircases. While I'm running errands, I also drop by the museum to turn in some more stuff, ran by Joja Mart to pick up that last big purchase, then over to the saloon to pick up some food to keep me alive during the Desert Festival. This is actually the first time I've fully paid off JojaMart prior to the Desert Festival, so I'm quite proud of my pace for the first 2 weeks of spring. From there, I went to the Adventurers Guild to purchase the Steel Falchion I've been eyeing as my best easily accessible combat option right now. With all of my money spent, there's nothing left to do but spend the rest of the day farming iron ore. I need to hit level 6 mining to be able to craft bombs, which I get around 8 PM on this incredibly blessed floor layout with 2 large iron veins right next to each other. I also take time to hunt down a few dust sprites, using the elevator to quickly teleport between floors 45, 55, and 65 to scout for monsters, since dust sprites are quite likely to drop coal when slain, which I need more of to make bombs. It takes 4 iron ore and 1 coal to craft a single bomb, and by the end of the day, I've raked in enough supplies to make 97 bombs. Day 15. I'm actually going to cook something in my cooking challenge. Unthinkable. I've got a few winter roots from enemies in the mines, and root splatters give a nice attack boost if you're going into heavy combat. I'll probably save these for day 17. Time to teleport to the desert and take a free meal for massive speed and luck buffs that stack on top of my own food and drink. Now, I've had so many things to explain up to this point, I haven't even touched on why I'm here and how insanely important the Desert Festival is for meeting all of my goals. Time for a quick refresher on what needs to happen in the second half of spring. First, I'm unlocking Ginger Island by paying JojaMart a ton of money. That part's already taken care of, but I'll also need a ton of materials to repair Willie's boat to make the trip down to the island. 200 pieces of hardwood is a lot. I was earning 12 a day from the Secret Woods, but it's not enough to finish anytime soon. However, if you happen to get Leah as one of your randomized vendors during the festival, you can purchase 100 pieces of hardwood for tokens earned by participating during the festival. Next, the 5 battery packs I need are very difficult to obtain before they're normally available during your first summer when thunderstorms roll in. But here in the Skull Cavern, if you go deep enough to encounter iridium bats, you can slay them for a 5% chance at a battery pack. Finally, the 5 iridium bars I need will be very easy to get, since iridium ore is super common once you dive down to the lower floors. But I'm after much more than just some useful materials. Right now is the absolute best time to gain experience in several skills. In case you forgot, I'm not just speedrunning through the regular progression towards Ginger Island. I fully intend to max out all of my skills by the end of spring at the same time. Getting level 10 mining is super easy for me, since iridium ore just dumps out mining experience at insane rates, particularly when you're bombing out multiple iridium rocks at a time. The real thing I'm after is foraging experience. Foraging is by far the hardest skill to level quickly. You'd have to chop down over 900 trees to reach level 10 from scratch, and I can guarantee that there aren't nearly that many trees around the valley, and I don't have the seeds, land, nor time to grow a forest of that size just for experience. But there is a solution. You can earn eggs by participating in the festival, which can be exchanged for foraging experience books. The third thing I'm after from the Desert Festival is that I still need to earn some more money, and iridium bars are quite lucrative. Specifically, I need 63,000 more gold to buy enough kale seeds to max out my farming level, since the Riverlands farm doesn't have enough dirt on it to plant something cheaper and more numerous like parsnips. Kale grants good experience per plant while still growing pretty fast, and is super easy to harvest in bulk with the scythe. I have a lot of different priorities to juggle, and I really need to maximize the time I spend at the festival to make my Skull Cavern dives as efficient as possible. I've stacked on 3 different speed buffs to run around quickly, and I also ate luck boosting food so it's more likely that I'll reveal a ladder or shaft when blowing up rocks. During the festival, your Skull Cavern run is ranked by your egg rating, which goes up every 5 floors and whenever you interact with one of the random calico statues. You get scaling rewards based on how high your egg rating is, and I'm aiming for an egg rating of 55 every single day, which rewards you 500 eggs as well as the best food in the game. The main way to get a good egg rating is to run around really fast and do all of your mining with explosives, since blowing up 15 rocks is a lot faster than hitting them one at a time with a pickaxe. Another good strategy is to use the in-game screenshot button in the options menu whenever you enter a large floor. Looking at those screenshots while the game is paused is helpful, since it shows the entire room beyond your usual viewing distance, so you can scout ahead for calico statues. Even with all of my preparation and strategy, getting an egg rating of 55 is really hard on the first day of the festival, particularly since I'm quite interested in slowing down to fight whenever I see a grouping of iridium bats that might be hiding one of those precious battery packs I need. And I actually got a lucky drop around 9:30 PM and found my first battery pack. I reached an egg rating of 55 just before 1 AM, which left me enough time to leave the cavern and claim my rewards. 500 more eggs and a magic rock candy, which grants enormous buffs for mining. I took a pop quiz from the scholar for 50 more eggs, and now I need to address the fact that I am very low on explosives. Normally you can easily sustain these by exchanging your eggs for mega bombs, but I need every single egg for foraging experience books and hardwood. I'm sort of forced to trade in my valuable iridium ore to the desert merchant so I have some bombs to use tomorrow. The Skull Cavern gives out ridiculous mining experience, so thankfully I can now craft my own mega bombs, and even without reserving any iridium to sell, I made some decent money today from Skull Cavern loot, mostly from selling 3 prismatic shards and a purple slime egg from a chest. Day 16. Today is going to be tricky, since I need to leave the cavern a couple hours early so I'll have time to visit the stalls and exchange eggs for hardwood before Leah closes up shop. Thankfully, the magic rock candy I earned yesterday makes a huge difference, since the +5 luck boost means I'm more likely to find ladders and the attack boost seems to add around 25 damage or so per swing. By 2 PM, I've already made it down 100 floors thanks to all the shafts I found, and iridium ore is incredibly plentiful once you get this deep. Just before 4 PM, I managed to get a battery pack, which is excellent news. I didn't start the day with very many bombs, and I was able to craft more on the fly from whatever ore I happened to get along the way. I also didn't have very much food left for healing, so I ate whatever I could find, like cave carrots. At 8 PM, I found a room infested with several bats and got to work, and I got a second battery pack for the day. Now, I really want to finish this run and get that 55 egg rating, but my dwindling supplies and the ticking clock means it's going to be a bit tight. By the end of the run, I used most of the staircases I had on hand just to ensure I reached an egg rating of 55 in time. At 11 PM, I decided it was okay to leave so I could run some errands before midnight, claiming my egg reward from Gil, trading in eggs from yesterday and today's runs for foraging books, stopping by the traveling cart to pick up one of those pesky year 2 red cabbages, then jogging over to Leah's stall to purchase 100 pieces of hardwood. Thankfully, the vendors present at the festival, while random, are determined by your game seed, so I knew she'd be here. Back in town, I accidentally triggered the congratulations cutscene for completing Joja Mart, which has a really weird vibe in the middle of the night. I stopped by the saloon just before closing, since I'm down to a single salad and I could really use some more healing food for tomorrow. I earned over 300 iridium ore from my adventure today, so I'm going to make some of them into iridium bars to use or sell, even if I want to save most of it to trade in for mega bombs to get me through tomorrow. I also got a wonderful stack of 5 prismatic shards today, most of which I'll sell for gold since I really need to scrounge up some more money to afford 900 kale seeds on the 18th. And since I had to leave the Skull Caverns early and have some extra time, I figured I could bring back the late night secret woods trip for some extra hardwood. I hit level 10 mining today, which makes iridium bars more valuable, and also got a nice little chunk of money to pocket for later. Day 17, last day of the festival. I need to get 2 more battery packs, hopefully 1,000 more eggs, and a lot more iridium ore since I'm currently trading in my entire stack for 58 mega bombs. Not much happened for the first half of the run, but I did find a cool hat. Around 4 PM, I entered a room with an alarming quantity of bats, but I brought those attack boosting root splatters I made a couple days ago, which turned me into some kind of lawnmower, earning me that 4th battery pack. I lucked into my 5th and final battery pack around 6:30, so all I need to do at this point is earn an egg rating of 55 or better, which got really dicey since I got a bunch of unlucky calico statues spawning in concerning quantities of fast and powerful mummies with boosted damage. I reached a high enough egg rating by 10:30 PM, but I was running really low on basic supplies like food because of how much damage I've been taking. Plus, a calico statue cursed my food to be half as effective as normal. I decided to pack it up by midnight since I don't think I can stay in there any longer without getting demolished. I had planned on using my monster musk today to help get those last 2 battery packs, but even without it, I had so many monsters to deal with I definitely wouldn't have survived had I actually used the thing. I'll use it sometime later when I want to max out my combat level. I went home to speed read my library's worth of foraging experience books, clocking at 6,500 foraging EXP, which is equivalent to chopping down over 400 trees. Pretty good, given that they're basically just a byproduct of the Skull Cavern runs I had to do anyway. If I didn't have to spend eggs on hardwood or slow down to collect battery packs, I definitely could have gotten maybe 8 more of those books, but juggling all of these priorities has been such a nightmare. I don't have the money on hand that I need for tomorrow, but I sold some valuable iridium bars I had saved up, and I've got more cooking in the furnaces, so that will be enough to set me up for my expensive shopping trip. Day 18. My farming level is currently level 1, and I'd really like for it to be level 10. I don't have the time nor equipment to manually till all of the dirt on the farm then water the crops, but I can till my farm in a slightly more haphazard fashion. I won't water my crops myself either, I'm just going to sit around until the rain takes care of it for me, since there's a lot of rain predicted on this game seed. I do have to chop down the trees around the farm manually, since any trees knocked down by explosions don't count for experience, but it's okay if I soften them up a little bit first, requiring less swings of my axe to get the job done. With the farm roughly cleared out and ready for planting, I need to get the rest of the day's errands done before the shops close up, and that starts with Pam's birthday. She could have a parsnip I randomly grew from mixed seeds earlier into the run, which she loves. Since it was a gold quality parsnip, I actually got 800 friendship points from this, which is more than 3 hearts. I then ran to Clint's shop to sell the iridium bars I made today, and have him upgrade my axe again so it'll be easier to max out my foraging level. I also have roughly 1 billion geodes to open, some of which I did while I was here. The next errand involves heading to the beach to put in all the materials to repair Willie's boat, meaning I can make the trip to Ginger Island as early as the 19th. I then ran up to Pierre's shop and purchased myself 900 kale seeds, worth around 15,300 experience. Expensive, but very efficient. I'll probably lose a few crops to the birds since I don't have any scarecrows, but that won't be enough to prevent me from reaching level 10 farming, since I need a little less than 15,000 experience to begin with. I spent the next 5 hours or so planting my seeds, but I still had a few hours left in the day, so I ran to the desert to exchange a prismatic shard for the overwhelmingly powerful galaxy sword, which you're barred from getting during the desert festival. After that, I snuck in a few floors of progress in the mines for combat experience. Day 19. I've maxed out my fishing and mining levels, and farming is going to take care of itself, but it's going to take a lot of focused effort for the rest of spring to max out my combat and foraging skills. Normally, I'd head to Ginger Island as soon as it's available to me, but I thought it might be a good idea to take advantage of a rare opportunity today. Lore 101 in the mines is infested with extra monsters, and I can use my monster musk then repeatedly farm the floor for efficient combat experience, hopefully earning thousands of experience today. This actually wasn't quite as good as I was hoping, since Floor 101 is pretty small and doesn't like to spawn in a high density of monsters despite being both infested and monster musked. I did earn about 3,600 combat experience today, bringing me to level 9 combat, which is a lot of combat experience for one day, but I was dreaming of earning even more. Day 20. With that diversion complete, I need to get to Ginger Island and obtain banana and mango saplings as soon as possible, since those will take a full 28 days of growth before my first harvest. Before I can leave though, I need to find something to do for a few hours, since it's Shane's birthday today. I'm not getting on that boat before I've had a chance to give him a present. I picked up my gold axe from Clint, then walked over to Marnie's ranch to give out some gifts. Time to sail over to Ginger Island. Ginger Island's progression system involves searching for hidden golden walnuts which you can use to unlock useful things like a new farmhouse to sleep and farm at. There are 130 walnuts scattered around the island, and I can only easily get my hands on maybe 60% of them without having to deal with challenging requirements or time gates. Getting 100 or more of these walnuts is required to complete the Ginger Island progression and gain access to endgame items and quests. If you'll recall the introduction of this video, that's how I'll be getting access to out-of-season produce and seafood. While I'd like to get that done quickly so I have time to grow the crops I need for cooking, it's not so pressing that I need to get there before summer. My top priority remains getting banana and mango saplings, and I've got a plan to get them quickly. There are a few ways to get your hands on these, such as turning in completed fossil collections, but that's very unreliable on a short deadline. I'll be getting my banana sapling by exchanging 5 dragon teeth, a moderately uncommon item obtained by occasional floor spawns in the volcano or as 10% drops from lava lurks. It's not easy to get these quickly since there typically aren't very many lava lurks and you can't reset the volcano on a whim like you can with the mines, since the only way to get new monsters and loot is to come back tomorrow. Like many other things, Dragon 2 floor spawns happen to be seeded. Although, full disclosure, I didn't initially plan for this at all. The seed I'm playing on just happens to have 4 dragon teeth here on day 20. There's a good reason I wasn't really concerned about coming here earlier on the 19th, since some weird quirk of the volcano's randomization code changes the result if you've cleared the volcano before. Obtaining a mango sapling is generally easier than the banana sapling, and I've got a brilliant plan to get one in no time at all. Tiger slimes have a 0.5% chance to drop a mango sapling when slain, which isn't very high, but there's a couple of them outside of the volcano, so I slap a tent right on top of their home and go to sleep right there. Day 21. I wake up and immediately start swinging. If the tiger slimes don't drop that 0.5% mango sapling, I'll just quit out to the title screen and reload my save to try again. This will take a while in real time, but it's only going to take seconds of in-game time to earn myself a mango sapling. After about 27 minutes, it finally happens, and now I'm going to sprint to get everything else done today. I need to grab a few more of the easily accessible walnuts, since I need to progress through the Ginger Island upgrade path to unlock the Island Trader, who can furnish me with a banana sapling. I also need to step into the volcano and get myself that last dragon tooth. Thankfully, there's one available on floor 7 for me to grab, so I run straight there, ignoring most of the enemies and rocks. I exit out through the top of the volcano and spend some walnuts to unlock the Island Trader and secure that banana sapling I need. I'm done with Ginger Island for the moment, so I teleport home and run over to Pierre's shop since I'll also need an apple and an apricot for a couple recipes, so I may as well plant them alongside my tropical fruit. It's time to start growing some ingredients in the greenhouse, and I have a couple of iridium sprinklers I got from a reward chest in the Skull Caverns, so I planted a few seeds I happen to have on hand, then put down my precious tree saplings. You can randomly get an apple or apricot from the farm cave, but it's not reliable and I don't want to chance it. The last critically important task of the day is getting my hands on a head of garlic from the traveling cart, the last year 2 crop I'll need. I do need 2 of these, but I can just use a seed maker to produce some more. While I take the opportunity to grind out some foraging experience by destroying an entire ecosystem, let's take a moment to breathe and analyze where we're at in terms of the grand scheme of things. I've been chasing deadlines and progressing lightning fast for the first 3 weeks, but now that I have those fruit trees planted, I now know for certain that the earliest possible date I can complete this run is summer 21, when I harvest my first banana and mango. It feels like I've accomplished a lot so far, but I'm not even halfway there. Better keep up this pace and get my skills maxed out. By the end of the day, I've hit level 9 foraging. Day 22. Reaching level 10 foraging is going to be very difficult, since hitting level 9 is only 2/3 of the way there in terms of total experience required to hit level 10. I still need the equivalent of 300 trees worth of experience, and there are only so many trees around for me to chop down. There's an unexpected source of foraging experience I can use to help chip away at this big goal: mushroom floors in the mines. Ground forageables are worth 70 experience a pop, and specific floors in the mines can spawn some 10 or so mushrooms for you to pick. Sadly, they won't respawn if you reset the floor. The bookseller is in town today, and he happens to be selling a single foraging experience book, which is good for 250 more experience. I can also make runs down to the secret woods and chop up the daily respawning stumps for 150 EXP every go. Thankfully, there's still a ton of foraging experience I can claim on Ginger Island. There's palm trees all over the island, plus stumps and logs to break down on the island farm. Also, digging up ginger roots and buried artifacts grants foraging experience as well. By deforesting the entirety of Ginger Island, I earned over 1700 foraging experience today, and I only need about 3000 more to hit level 10. Day 23. I have mushroom floors available on floors 87, 89, and 108. While the foraging experience isn't that high, I need any good source of daily foraging EXP I can get, and it's pretty convenient to chip away at combat experience at the same time. I reset floor 81 a few times, not particularly for gold ore or enemies to kill, but because I need some extra fiber, which can be used to craft tree fertilizer, which I'll put to good use later today since I've accumulated over 100 tree seeds to plant. With plans to grow myself an entire forest to chop down, I'm not too worried about maxing out my skills by the end of spring, so it's time to become very worried about my other long-term goals. I've barely had time to seriously work on earning friendship points outside of a few birthdays, and reaching 7 hearts with 18 people is actually kind of a monumental task to get done quickly. You might recall from the introduction to this video that the entire purpose of spending so much time maxing out my skills is because it'll let me grind for Stardrop Tea, an item I'll need to catch up on friendship for the trickier villagers. After all, Leo in particular is unreasonable for me to befriend before his birthday hits since you can't even talk to him until you've reached Ginger Island, and I'd like to complete the run several days before his birthday happens in late summer. After a quick round of gifting the nearby villagers, I chop down the few palm trees remaining in the desert, then pull out all the tree seeds I've obtained to date for planting. The desert is a fantastic place to start a tree farm, since there's a ton of open space and nearly 0 foot traffic. The trees seem unbothered by the dry climate since they don't actually need water to grow. Normally trees you plant will take weeks to grow from seed, but applying tree fertilizer will cut that time down to 5 days, so I'll be able to return to the desert on the last day of spring when it comes time to max out my foraging skill. Day 24. Foraging is mostly a waiting game at this point, so it's time to focus on other tasks. I'm going to finish up my last 1900 combat experience today. I don't have a convenient monster-infested floor or anything to use, so I'm trying a new method, elevator scouting. By taking the elevator to a new floor and pausing the game while the screen fades in from black, I can scout for enemies while the game's timer is paused for like 90% of the time, since the clock doesn't run while I'm operating the elevator. If I see nearby enemies, I'll walk over and take care of them, but if there's nothing in sight, I can just take the elevator down 10 more floors. If I don't see anything interesting on floors 85, 95, or 105, I'll just take the elevator back up to floor 0 to reset the mines before going back down. I'm choosing these 3 floors specifically since the monsters past floor 80 give the best experience, and I'm skipping floor 115 since it's kind of tiny and rarely spawns any enemies. This method is super efficient, so I hit level 10 combat before 9 PM. I then spend a couple more hours in the mines in search of a ruby, since I made the crippling mistake of trading all my rubies for spicy eels, which are very good for boosting your walking speed, but I need another ruby to duplicate in my crystallarium so I can keep trading for more eels for the rest of the run. I still need to make a couple more runs to the secret woods for foraging experience, but my tree farm in the desert is going to handle the bulk of the remaining experience I need. Day 25. I sort of glossed over this previously, but it's been buried under a long list of things to talk about. So let's cover how I'm going to finish Ginger Island. I can bypass all of the golden walnuts that are too difficult or slow to obtain by paying the golden parrot 10k gold per missing walnut. I'll need over 500,000 gold to get that done, but I figure I can get the money together in the next 4 days while also finishing up my skills. No, really, I can. I'll have over 500k in my pocket before summer. If you don't already know how busted Ginger Island is for money making, you're in for a treat. Earlier in spring, I made all my money on catfish, which have a base value of 200 gold. If you go fishing up on the volcano's caldera, you can hook lava eels with a base value of 700 gold. Add on the bonus from gold star quality, level 10 fishing and the fish smoker, and you're looking at 3,000 gold of pure profit per eel, even if you're paying for coal. Plus, there are no other fish up here, and with a bait maker, you'll hook a lava eel basically every time. The only downside is that they're really annoying to catch, so make sure you bring a trap bobber to reduce the difficulty. To make my bait last longer, I stuck my fishing rod into the forge for the preserving enchantment, which has a 50% chance not to consume bait or degrade tackle when you get a bite. After 12 hours of fishing, I had 30 smoked lava eels on hand, and I ran back home to grab a couple regular eels since I'll need them for some recipes later and they only show up on rainy evenings during spring. I didn't spend my whole day fishing lava eels, but I still made over 90k in sales. Day 26. The other reason I came home last night instead of camping out on Ginger Island is that it's time to harvest all of that kale I grew. Kale is harvested with the scythe, so harvesting doesn't take too long, and by 10 AM I had reached level 10 farming. Just one more skill to go, and I'll be completely maxed out. It's also Pierre's birthday today. While I was here, he also purchased my 900 kale for over 100k, and thankfully I remembered to buy back 2 of them since I need kale for 2 recipes. Since I have tons of money now, I went to Robin to order a barn. I need to keep some animals on the farm, because I'll need a bunch of milk and eggs for recipes later. Since I was doing errands around town anyway, I stopped by Clint's to open up a bunch more geodes. Taking my haul over to the museum, I think I've finally donated enough stuff to get access to the rusty key, which I needed to get before summer so I can swap professions. I gave out some gifts to villagers while running my errands, got in one more secret woods run to make sure I can finish leveling up foraging, then returned to Ginger Island to pick up a bunch of golden walnuts I hadn't gotten around to getting yet. I only have a few hours left in the day, but that's enough time to catch some lava eels, and I'll put up a tent outside the volcano so I can keep fishing here tomorrow without having to walk back. Day 27. I spent 17 hours straight fishing up like 60 more lava eels, which is very lucrative but is super slow and repetitive in real time. I left early since I needed to turn in a fetch quest you can only complete when it's not raining, and every time I stopped by recently, it's been raining on the island. Plus, I needed to teleport home to catch Emily on her way home from work to sneak in a birthday gift. That's the last birthday in spring, and here's what my friendship points are looking like. A few hearts here and there, but I'm nowhere near what I'll need to reach by the end of summer. For no particular reason beyond the fact that I forgot to do so earlier, I swung by the desert merchant to take advantage of his Saturday-only trades to swap in some spring seeds I prepared a couple weeks ago for some fall seeds at a pricey 4-to-1 exchange. That'll help take care of the wild forage ingredients I'll need for recipes. All the lava eels I sold today clocked in at over 250,000 gold, which is a lot. Day 28. Now that my tree farm in the desert has grown in, it's time to max out my foraging skill. Just give me a moment to knock down 100 trees. It looks like I planted a couple more trees than I needed, but it never hurts to play it safe. That's all 5 skills, maxed out in my first spring, even with all the other tasks I've been juggling at the same time. Speaking of other tasks, time to go get the rest of the money to finish Ginger Island while I'm at it. This has definitely been the most complex spring of any Stardew run I've ever played, and it's crazy how much I was able to accomplish in 4 weeks. Check out this treasure chest I picked up around 9:30. The Iridium Band has a roughly 1 in 800 drop rate every time a fishing chest rolls the drop table. I also got one of those rare fishing weapons for the first time this run. Imagine how nice it would be to fish up a powerful weapon before your first foray into the mines on day 5. I've never had it happen during a challenge run, and it's made me pretty jealous of other videos I've watched that did get their hands on one early. Around midnight, I declare that I'm completely and utterly sick of fishing up lava eel and head back to sell them. While I'm here, I also planted some taro roots I'll need for a recipe later, since they water themselves if planted near a natural water source. Time to sleep for the final time during spring. It's finally summer. We're over halfway there, and this section of the video should be much shorter than spring, since the number and complexity of tasks is winding down. I mostly need to build up friendship points for a few weeks to unlock all of those recipes while gathering whatever miscellaneous ingredients I need to cook them. Still, getting friendship done this month is going to be a huge grind, given that I've barely started. I go ahead and spend all of my money officially finishing Ginger Island progression. I'll be able to access endgame quests now, which is great news for those tricky fall and winter ingredients I don't have yet. After quickly planting some of my seeds in the greenhouse, I also ordered a coop from Robin so I'll be able to source eggs to cook with. While running around, I gave out some gifts to everyone I can find. Now's a good time to explain how gifting works. You're limited to 2 a week, and a loved gift at base quality is only worth 80 friendship points. Speaking to a villager can be done once per day for 20 more points. If you give a gift and chat with everyone twice a week, that's 200 points, which is not enough to earn even a single friendship heart each week. Ouch. Plus, I'll need to build 1750 points to reach 7 hearts of friendship in fewer than 7 weeks spent working on it. This is a big hurdle for any villager who won't have time to celebrate their birthday before I've completed my run. After all, a birthday gift is worth 8 times as many points and also bypasses the weekly gift limit. High-quality gifts are worth up to 1.5 times as many friendship points, hence my use of universally liked Iridium smoked fish earlier in the run. But many of the gifts I have available on the loved gift side of things, like gemstones, don't always have quality levels. I need to farm Stardrop tea as soon as possible if I'm going to get friendship done for the most difficult villagers, since these teas totally bypass the normal gifting limit and grant a full 250 points of friendship. My skills might be maxed, but I need to get 10,000 more experience to get my first mastery point before I can fish for tea, which I figure I can earn in 1 day in the Skull Caverns, but I'm actually really low on some of my basic supplies like explosives. Plus, I don't even have the Skull Key, so it's off to the mines to get some supplies and properly unlock the Skull Caverns for real this time since they leave it unlocked during the festival. I got myself enough iron ore to make 90 or so bombs, then ran down to the sewers. The method I'll be using the farm for Stardrop tea involves grinding for treasure chests while fishing, so I had better pay to swap my profession off Angler, which makes fish more valuable, to Pirate, which lands me way more treasure. Summer 2nd. Today's the Skull Cavern day to earn myself a point of mastery. I've got a magic rock candy left over from my day 17 rewards during the festival, so let's put it to good use. Mining is an absolute cakewalk outside of the festival since there aren't any calico statues that make the monsters more dangerous. I actually made it down past floor 200, which was pretty fun. Amazing how fast you can go when there's no other distractions. Iridium ore is so common down here, I left with over 500 ore, which is worth 150k gold if turned into bars and sold, so I put down some more furnaces to cook it all up. Summer 3rd. Today I get to start a long, obnoxious grind for Stardrop tea, but before that I have gifts to give out. Marnie, why are you telling me this? Do you hate your niece? I purchased some cows while I was down here. I won't need to pay much attention to them since all of those Skull Cavern runs have furnished me with a couple auto grabbers and auto petters. I spent a few hours giving out gifts to everyone, and by around 1 PM I'm mostly set for the week. I am ignoring Gus, but there's a good reason for that, and I'll hold the surprise for a few days until it comes up naturally. I bought a bunch of dress spinners from Willy, since the main way to get more treasure chests is to catch more fish. The treasure hunter tackle, designed for hunting treasure, is surprisingly bad since it barely increases the rate of treasure. I'll just increase my total number of fish bites instead. For bait, I'm using magnets I crafted from the iron I got from yesterday's Skull Cavern run. Magnets grant a plus 15% chance to find a chest. Since my rod is enchanted with preserving, these should last me a little while. I've been putting it off as long as physically possible, so it's time to talk about how unlikely it is to get Stardrop Tea from fishing, and how it was around now I realized this entire run may have been a really bad idea. Using magnet bait with the pirate profession, I'm expecting around 45% of my fish to spawn a treasure chest. Now that I've spent a mastery point on fishing, each chest that I successfully find has a further 25% chance to instead transform into a golden treasure chest. That's about an 11% chance to get a golden box every time I hook a fish, and it has to be an actual fish, not seaweed or something. Now the chance a chest becomes golden is actually super dependent on your randomized daily luck. The average value is 25%, but the actual range is huge and varies anywhere from 15% to 35%. So on a day with really good luck, up to 1 in 6 fish will spit out a golden chest, which is starting to sound pretty good. The problem is, even when you do get a golden chest, Stardrop Tea is still quite rare. It's a 7% drop rate from golden chests. It could be a lot worse since golden chests are reasonably likely to roll up more than one piece of loot, so let's ballpark it at more like a 10% chance to get Stardrop Tea each time I find gold. So on a really lucky day, I'm estimating around 1 tea every 60 or so fish, and it only gets worse from there. You see, this isn't my first, second, or even third attempt at playing Summer Third. I'm on my 5th, because I've already found and opened up 30 golden treasure chests without finding a single drop of tea, and I'm doing everything I can to maximize the quantity of fish I'm pulling in. I don't really care if the fish I catch are valuable, so I'll purposefully spend less time charging up my rod's cast length and instead flick the bobber into shallow water. I'm also obsessively chasing down bubbles to reduce the average time it takes for a fish to bite. I didn't find my first tea until my 38th golden treasure chest since starting this challenge. I literally jumped out of my chair when I finally found one. Oh yeah, and I was planning on fishing up like maybe 20 of these over the course of a couple weeks. I told my friends that if it ever took me that long to get a tea again, I was seriously considering setting my computer on fire. Summer 4. Today's daily luck is very poor, and I'm not going to torment myself by fishing under these conditions, but I have several other important tasks I can do. With Ginger Island's progression complete, I need to pick up an endgame quest or two so I can exchange for special rewards, such as that magic bait I need to catch out of season fish. I'd like to earn 60 gems to cash in, and I figure I can earn all of them today, starting with that quest to turn in 100 items of each listed color. I've got a pretty good idea of how to get that quest done easily, since you can just purchase the colorful items you need, then turn them in. For red, I'll buy 100 spaghettis from the saloon. For orange, I'll pick up 100 copper ore from Clint. For yellow, I can buy a stack of cheap hay from Marnie. For green, I'm just going to use fiber since it's cheap and plentiful. Blue can be satisfied with 100 Joja Colas, and purple is the tricky one since I've gone ahead and sold almost all of the Void Essence I had, so I'm gonna have to bite the bullet and use a chunk of my iridium ore I haven't cooked down yet. After a full round of shopping and giving out gifts to anyone who still needs one, I've got my full rainbow of items for the quest, so I'm off to Ginger Island. Now the quest will only yield 35 gems of the 60 I want to spend, but there's another way to get a few gems. Any leftover golden walnuts once you purchased every Ginger Island upgrade can be traded in for 2 gems each, and I have every single golden walnut since I paid good money for them. I'll just have to run around Ginger Island to buy all those upgrades I never got previously, and that means I'll have to do half a volcano run since there's a shortcut to purchase on floor 5. I wanted to buy the recipe for ginger ale while I was here, but I forgot you can't speak to the volcano dwarf without having found all the dwarf scrolls. Whoops. I'll have to come back later. While I'm here though, this is a great time to enchant the advanced fishing rod I got for putting in for fishing mastery, a special rod that can equip 2 separate pieces of tackle. I haven't actually used it yet since I just got the thing yesterday, and it wasn't enchanted like my old rod. Now that I can double up on dress spinners, the average bite time of fish is gonna feel nearly instantaneous when the bobber hits the water. Speaking of money, I spent a lot today, and the most efficient way for me to get iron ore to craft magnets is probably just to buy it off of Clint. So I'm going to spend a few hours fishing up eels, which lets me make use of a one-off quality bobber buried in the sand on Ginger Island. Iridium quality smoked floppa eels with the artisan profession are worth a disgusting amount of money, like over 5k each. With a maxed out fishing setup, you can fish over 300 gold a day, which is mildly ridiculous. I head over at around midnight to turn in the quest for 35 gems, and exchange my extra 14 golden walnuts for 28 more gems. Time to put these to good use, starting with Pierre's missing stock list to furnish me with the fall seeds I'll need, and I'll spend the rest of the gems on a healthy stack of magic bait. Summer 5th. Daily luck is average today, so I'm back to fishing. I reset the day until I pulled up a star drop tea in the morning hours, giving me plenty of opportunity to maybe get a second one later in the same day. In between bubbles, I ran to Clint's to refresh my stack of iron ore for making magnets. I later handed Pierre his missing stock list and grabbed myself a bunch of the seeds I need to grow fruit and vegetables for cooking. Something that's pretty much always a good idea is spending time talking to people, even if I don't have any gifts to hand out for the rest of the week. It's only worth 20 friendship points per daily conversation, which sounds low when it takes 250 points to earn 1 heart, but it really adds up if you talk to 15 or more people every single day. I spent nearly the entire day fishing, but I didn't get any more star drop tea after the morning. Summer 6 rolled bad luck, so I need to work on something productive besides fishing for tea, so I'll prepare some of my ingredients and do a couple minor quests. I start by using magic bait until I find myself a salmon, which are normally only available in the fall. I then decide to work on the greenhouse a little and plant some more of the ingredients I need. While I won't fish for tea today, I can complete some quests worth 1 friendship heart each. You know when you get a piece of mail where a villager personally requests some sort of fetch quest? I have quests from Jody and Lewis I haven't completed that I can go turn in for a couple hearts while I'm running around to talk to everyone anyway. After speaking to absolutely everyone who needs friendship, I started to run low on useful things to accomplish today, so I made some more money fishing up eels in case I need it later, or maybe even get an unexpected star drop tea, which didn't happen. Summer 7th is lucky, so I went fishing until I got an early morning tea at 7:50 AM. Nice. Today the town bulletin board finally coughed up a useful quest. Some of these fetch quests reward 150 points of friendship on completion, but I've only seen useless ones this summer, like slaying monsters for the wizard. I took the time to turn in that quest and speak to everybody for friendship. I say everybody, but I frequently skip Leo just because he can be pretty out of the way. I went fishing in the secret woods, since the bubbles there are super plentiful for the entire evening, and it seemed like it was worth the trip. I've been going through my dress spinners like crazy since my fishing rod can equip 2 of them, but it's well worth it since hooking more fish per day gives me more chances at star drop teas. Around 10:50 PM, I got another star drop tea. Looks like my luck is finally turning around, because I didn't just get 2 teas today, I actually got 3. This is great news since I was starting to fall behind. Summer 8th is unlucky. It feels so unproductive to be discouraged to fish half the time. You can redo the previous day if you want to try and re-roll your daily luck, but I got 3 teas yesterday. I wouldn't redo that in 100 years. I'm just gonna deal with it. I went down to the beach and set out some crab pots I bought off of Willy since I need seafood like lobster and shrimp for recipes. I can't believe these cost 1500 gold each when half the time they just spit out trash or seafood worth like 50 gold. Can't imagine running these 30 times just to break even. What a terrible item. And the crab pot professions really aren't enough to make them good compared to how broken the regular fishing professions are. I'm using my magic bait since I need to find a squid and a sea cucumber, which are normally locked to fall and winter. They're a roughly 5% chance each given how many different fish there are in the ocean. I got a squid, then decided to run around and give out gifts to everyone. One really convenient byproduct of fishing for tea is that I occasionally get pearls, which are universally beloved and a convenient way to gift villagers with picky preferences. Time to show off something fun. Today is Gus's birthday, so I gave him a diamond to bring him from 1 to 4 hearts. Then I came back later with one of my star drop teas, since tea can be gifted anytime, bypasses the gift limits, and are worth an insane 3 hearts on birthdays, bringing Gus from 1 to 7 hearts in one day. With that, I've completed 1 of the 18 7-heart friendships. That might sound nice, but I'm still really low on friendship when it comes to villagers who won't get to celebrate their birthday. I better keep grinding tea so I can get them caught up. While looking for things to do today, I went back to the beach to try and find that sea cucumber I need, which I didn't find, but I got this instead, which was so lucky I had to stand up out of my chair and walk around my room a little. Today's a bad luck day, so my chance of getting golden chests was bad to begin with. I wasn't using my magnet bait, and I rolled multiple tea in one go. Summer 9th, neutral luck today. Things are going to start sounding a bit repetitive since the rest of the run is mostly just grinding for tea at this point. I reset my mornings until I found one, gave out a bunch of gifts, celebrated Gus taking a random island vacation since there's a recipe that can only be purchased there, admired my progress on the friendship front now that the week's gifts are mostly finished, then spent 12 more hours fishing without getting anything. Summer 10 is lucky, but I'm not. I went on a crazy dry streak again and had to open up over 30 chests until I got an attempt where I found a tea. Nothing else interesting happened. Summer 11. Some of my crops have grown in at the greenhouse. Today happens to be the Luau Festival, which is absolutely worth attending since contributing a high-quality ingredient to the communal soup will grant 120 friendship points of everybody. Summer 12 is a lucky day. When looking for my morning tea, I hit another double. Given how many pieces of loot you can find per chest some of the time, tea might actually be a little more common than I thought despite the 7% drop rate. I'm done getting shrimp and lobster, so I should move my crab pots to a freshwater location to get myself snails and such. The bookseller is in town today, and since I finished Ginger Island Progression a while back, the Queen of Sauce cookbook is in stock, which teaches me 32 new recipes. Nice. I also buy and read the movement speed book since I have extra money and I like them. I went fishing for the rest of the day but didn't get anything. Summer 13. Bad luck today, so I'll run down and go pick up that sea cucumber I still need. I didn't know what else to do after chatting up the villagers as I do every single day, so I tried fishing on bad luck hoping for just a single tea and picked one up at 4:30 p.m. And then for some reason I got 2 more late at night. I promise, this is the last time I will get this lucky. Please don't bonk me with a hollow cardboard tube or cartoon-sized mallet. Summer 14. Terrible luck today, so I went to a convenient monster-infested floor in the mines to search for one of those 2 dwarf scrolls I'm missing. I also remembered that it might be nice to do my cooking in an actual kitchen, instead of triumphantly making all of the game's recipes over a campfire, so I ordered a house upgrade from Robin. My friendship points have been making pretty good progress since I've also gotten Lewis, Pam, and Kent to 7 hearts each, so I'm up to 4 out of 18 villagers complete. But a ton of stragglers are still wavering at 3 to 4 hearts. Thankfully my stack of tea is getting quite large, as I have over 13 teas sitting around in storage right now. I went fishing later today, but didn't get anything, and my daily luck is basically minimum, so I'm not trying again. Summer 15. I got 2 teas today. I'm running out of interesting things to do or say. Summer 16. I got 2 teas today. I now have something interesting to say. I have enough tea. No, really, let's look at the timeline here. The gifting week resets on the 21st, and trying to finish friendship before another week of gifts would require me to have like 30 tea on hand, which I'm not going to get by then, since I only have 17 and I've never exceeded 3 tea in one day. But if I set my end date for friendship for the 22nd, after completing gifts for week 8, those extra days mean, according to my scribbled napkin math, I'm done. I have enough tea. Thank God I'm never doing this again, it's not fun. Besides, I can't finish gathering ingredients until the 21st when my mango and banana grow in, so retiring from fishing a few days early is not really a cop-out since I have to wait for the food to grow anyway. Summer 17. Jody asked me for a tuna. Here you go. Summer 18. Today's the green rain, which is nice since I actually need to gather 20 moss to make moss soup. All of the villagers today are hiding out indoors and have unique dialogue I've never really explored before, since I've previously spent the whole day gathering moss. Summer 19. I've got a birthday gift for Demetrius, bringing him up to 6 hearts. He won't need a birthday tea or anything to finish up. We can save that for people who won't get to celebrate birthdays. Also, Emily hit 7 hearts at some point just from chatting daily, so that's 5 people done. Summer 20. I talked to everybody, then went back to bed. Summer 21. My fruit trees have produced. Huge milestone today, since I now have all of the ingredients I need to cook every recipe. Nice. The gifting week has reset, so I sent out a full wave of gifts to every villager, finishing Demetrius and Shane, putting me at 7 out of 8 complete. Summer 22. I never got that missing dwarf scroll 1, so I went to a monster-infested floor to pick it up before setting out to finish all of my friendships. Time to hand out a couple weeks worth of Star Drop tea, and finish 11 more friendships all in one go. Willie, 1 tea. Leo, 4 teas, greedy kid. Evelyn, 2 teas. George, 1 tea. Marnie, 2 teas. Caroline, 2 T's, Clint, 1 T, Sandy, 2 T's, Linus, 1 T, Robin, the last and final T, putting all 18 villagers I need up to 7 hearts. I still need to grab a couple recipes I've put off until now. I can gather out 30 bone fragments and trade them to the island trader to unlock banana pudding. And now that I've finally graduated from my Duolingo lessons, I need to run back to the Volcano Dwarf to finally pick up the recipe for ginger ale. The rest of the recipes I'll receive in my mailbox tomorrow from all of the villagers I finished befriending today, so I've officially unlocked every single recipe in the game. Summer 23. It's finally time to make some food. Up until now, I've only cooked one recipe, the root splatter, so I gotta cook the other 80. Even using the kitchen fridge to store ingredients, I have way too much food to cook, so the inventory juggling is kind of a mess. I put down some chests to store every finished dish. Thankfully, I didn't forget to obtain any ingredients, but I accidentally made cookies twice and then wasted a mussel making sashimi. Plus, I kinda forgot to harvest my taro root from Ginger Island. With all of the ingredients actually on hand this time, I finished cooking the rest of the food, finally earning the Gourmet Chef achievement for cooking all recipes in a mere 51 days since starting my save file. We've done it. I've cooked 2 years worth of food in less than 2 months. This challenge run started as an innocent question of how long it would take me to cook everything, and then devolved into the most complicated and difficult challenge run I've ever attempted in Stardew Valley. The insane pace I felt like I set during springtime definitely exceeded my previous videos. I've never had JojaMart completely paid off prior to the Desert Festival before, and all of that was just a prerequisite task for a greater goal. I had to build on all the foundations I've laid up to this point to be able to make this video and complete this challenge quickly enough to feel proud of it. Thanks for watching all the way to the end of this long video. This project got a lot bigger than I thought it would at first and took me quite some time to put it all together, so please consider supporting my channel by sending this video to 10,000 of your closest friends and family members. Thank you. Cheers.